Rick Dollar with NetRadioDogs.com, and we are at the birthplace of country music tonight. Thanks, sir. I really appreciate that.
Push that down, just.
Is it? Okay, all right.
Rick Dollar.
That's good. I'm here with J. Buck Ford. I'm gonna say J. Buck.
Do,
anyway,
because that stands for part of it.
Exactly. This is Tennessee Ernie Ford's son, and he is here to promote a lot of great things happening, not just in your personal career, but your father's career, and a lot of great things happen here at the birthplace. You want to start filling us in?
Well, tonight is the grand opening event, if you will, for A Life on Stage, the Birthplace of Country Music Museum's exhibit on Dad's life and career. It's an amazing event, promises to be an important event, not because of my dad, but because it sheds a light on an amazing era in American music and entertainment that brings a greater spotlight to Bristol and the changes that are happening here. It's an amazing.
Right. Yeah. There's so many good things happening in this town right now.
Yes, sir.
And a lot of them are because of the birthplace of country music.
Absolutely.
And the steps they've taken to bring musical history back to this area that was there for so many years, and we just did not have a vehicle to push it out there so everybody could see it.
You know, museums have changed a great deal.
Oh yeah.
And they've had to. There's an effort really among some of the greater museums in the world right now to not only make them more accessible, but to change the general perception of a museum being a place where a lot of fusty old relics of the past are, that are archival materials that have nothing to do with our lives currently.
Right.
And that's a huge misconception.
It is.
Because we're in a facility, in an event house like this, it's far less about the past than it is about windows into who we are. By being able to tour, to walk through the lives and eras of people that made a difference in the country and integrally take part in that experience is a huge change. It is opening up museums to legions of people that may not be considering going to one.
Right, would not have been there before.
Exactly.
At all.
Exactly.
Yeah. Your father did a lot of great things in this country, and especially in the Bristol area. Like I was telling you earlier, I remember driving by the old home place there,
Yes.
And every day of my life when I was a teenager, and just thinking, who is this guy?
Did you have a lot to do in your life, or were you just driving?
Yeah, I was just going to
Just
school
curious
or going
because-
to work. You know what I'm saying? I mean, it just so happened that it was there, and I'm so glad that I had those thoughts of wonderment of who the guy was, what he did, and you filled me in on a lot of his recording areas there in that general area. What was it, Anderson Street Church?
Well, he recorded one of my favorite records of his, in the inspirational panoply of records, was called simply Hymns at Home.
Right.
And it was a record that he cut. It was his own idea, he and my grandmother and grandfather's idea, to record an inspirational album in the way it would have sounded if you were simply sitting in row 12 in the pews.
Wow.
And coming into church on a Sunday and hearing what a real family church choir sounds like.
Right.
And the key to the record was there was no professional choir. It was the choir of the church, and it was composed 90% of my kin.
Amazing.
And these were not professionally trained singers, but they were people that had grown up with and had made those songs as much a part of the fabric of their lives as anything. And when you put the needle down, I'm giving away my age.
No, go ahead.
Put the needle down on that disc, but that's okay. Best Buy has an entire vinyl section now, so I'm good with that. When you put the needle down, when you put the needle down on that record, figuratively, what you're hearing is the reality of that music.
Right.
You're not hearing the production values. And I'm telling you, you can close your eyes when you listen to Did You Think to Pray or some of those songs, and you can literally, you can smell the chicken down in the rec room down below, you know, because you know they're getting ready.
That's
You know,
it.
after this, you know, y'all bring a covered dish. We're gonna be going downstairs any minute, you know.
Yeah. Well, what about 16 Tons? Were you around your father at that time when he wrote that song, or was
Dad did not write 16 Tons.
Okay.
16
All right.
Tons was written by one of the most celebrated songwriters and guitar players in American music history. His name was Merle Travis.
Right.
Merle Travis became best known at the end of World War II when he wrote and sang a song called No Vacancy.
Yeah.
That took the American government to task for not having adequate housing for servicemen.
Wow.
And it placed Merle Travis on the House Un-American Activities Committee's lists of potentially subversive and sympathetic people to the communist cause. His music was discouraged throughout America by FBI agents visiting radio stations that normally played his music.
Wow.
When 16 Tons was considered as one of two tracks Dad needed to cut in September of '55, the label rejected the song, even though it had become very popular from the television show,
Right.
because of pressure from the government. And Dad stayed by his friend Merle Travis. They cut that song, but it became the B-side. And if you know anything about music, you know that in 1955, the B-side of a single might as well have been
Yeah.
aired.
Never played.
Was never heard.
Yeah.
We think somebody and the A-side was You Don't Have to Be a Baby to Cry, a great
Yeah.
jazz big band version.
Good.
We think that somebody in Kansas City mistakenly flipped the 45. In
Mistakenly.
2 weeks it sold more than 2 million copies. In 4 weeks, it became the biggest selling, fastest selling single in the history of the music business.
Good Lord.
And stayed on the pop and country charts longer than any song of its kind for more than 2 decades. And is still regarded as one of the most important songs ever penned by an American composer.
Amazing. I'm telling you.
And still means a lot to people. There's a
And it
lot of
does.
people out there right now that owe their soul to the credit card company or to student loan, to their bank. People can relate to working simply to pay off your debt.
Exactly.
Song still means
Yeah, it
something.
happens every day. Happens every day.
Absolutely.
All right. Thanks for sitting down and talking to
My
us.
pleasure,
Okay,
buddy.
you're
My
a busy
pleasure.
man right now, and we'll be talking to you in the future. Okay.
Yes, absolutely. We're getting together somewhere.
Yes,
aren't
we are. Don't you worry about
I'm
that.
looking down the road. I'm noting that on my calendar.
Okay.
It's here.
Just give me some information and we'll take care of you. Okay.
Okay.
All right. No
And
problem.
We're good?
Yes, we are.
Good.
Rick
Well-
Dollar with NetRadioDogs.com and
Shaking hands with Rick Dollar,
Hey.
man on a mission, friend of those who have no friends, foe of all evil in the world, star of stage, screen, television, and radio, Rick Dollar.
and I'm running for president too. Thanks.